This was a pretty good session, if not only just because I managed to finally get some decent timing on my explosive pull-ups, which didn't happen in the first set, but I figured it out because as I was rewatching it, I noticed that I was still kind of not getting it right. I was pulling a bit too early. In here, I can definitely notice that as I pull at the end of the swing, my legs have to come up a little bit to try and facilitate me coming over the bar. There is also the thing about the degree of shoulder extension as I get into the bottom of the swing, but that is something that I believe it's not as influential as getting the tempo right. And I was organizing this as a bit of a giant set, taking about a minute rest, and then I placed the bench just close to the pull-up bar, and I was doing some dumbbell work, incline presses with 22 kilos, which I managed to increase in total rep count from the previous time that I was doing this. And also I was doing the usual wrist work in between. So I was doing the pull-ups, resting for a minute or so while gathering myself to do the incline dumbbell presses, and then straight after that I was doing the wrist work. And unlike last week, when I was too lazy to even readjust the bench down in a way that allowed me to sit on a flat surface while doing these wrist curls, I actually did it. It doesn't really take that long. Who would have thought? These wrist curls are feeling okay. I don't know if I should be really allowing my fingers to curl them up, but it gives me a bit more range of motion and it definitely pumps some extra blood in there. But here the second set on the explosive pull-up comes. Definitely from the first rep, I was noticing a much bigger focus on respecting the tempo of the exercise and the repetition. The second one wasn't as good, but I was still kind of realizing that in order to go up, I need to allow my body to kind of pull me back. The third one was a pretty good one, and as I was going back, I was really able to pull myself and going straight up. So in here, what I really need to focus on is first getting to full extension at the end of the pendulum swing. And then I need to wait a little bit, allow the momentum to stop and to reverse, and at that point, I can pull. And I noticed that it makes it almost effortless, which means that I should be able then to focus more on pulling towards the belly button, the hip. So this is the end goal, because I can do the muscle up, and I don't really think that getting a dip at the end of the repetition is really doing anything for improving the first portion of the lift. But if I can focus on getting the tempo right and ingrain that in my neurological memory, let's call it, in a way that makes me consistently perform the initial part of the pull in the way that I would like, then I'm going in the right direction from the get-go, and I can focus on developing the explosive strength without hindering myself by not initiating the movement correctly and kind of setting my progress back. Because if I develop strength in that movement without aiding myself, it's just not going to progress at all. This is the set that I performed when I went upstairs to do some lower body stuff. And this pull-up bar was a little too close to the wall. They put a shelf where they had the med balls, so I wasn't able to get as much of a swing, but what little I was getting, I was able to harness in a meaningful way and going back and up, even if I wasn't really pulling that much at that point. It's just that position on the close to the wall wasn't making me feel too comfortable about that. Then a few handstands and some sled pulls. The handstands are not really feeling that great, as I outlined a couple of days ago while talking about the fact that the hip pain is kind of preventing me from getting into a good handstand. So I might be starting to do them for time against the wall, because at least I expose myself to being upside down for a meaningful time. And the movement into the tuck wasn't really great, but at this point I just wanted to get the session done, really, because I was kind of tired, but it was overall a good one, and I improved on some stuff, so I'm happy about that. Ciao.